Welcome back to the Wobros. It's been 86 years.
Yeah, one of us kind of died. The other one kind of got lost in hell looking for me. And yes, I am going to hell. Like, the devil made it oddly clear that if I ever escaped, I'm just coming right back.
Dorian went on a trip to hell to fight his dad or whatever.
Look, I'm just saying, the Doomslayer theme did hit different down there.
Today we're doing something different. We're gonna be talking about our top 5 versions of Transformers characters because we're dorks and we like Transformers and it's awesome.
Like, seriously, you don't understand. We watched Power Rangers for fun. That's how bad it is over here.
I like Power Rangers.
So do I.
I liked Power Rangers. It's kind of garbage now.
I like the older stuff. I don't acknowledge the new ones unless they decide.
They exist. They're not for us.
Their existence is not justified.
But it does exist.
Yes, I have to
So
acknowledge.
the rules of this are we have our top 10 favorite versions of characters. The rules are that you can't repeat a character, but you can repeat a show or movie or game or whatever. It's the entire Transformers mythos. For example, if you said, my number 68, even though that's not on here, is animated Bumblebee, then you can't have another version of Bumblebee on your list. But you can have another character from animated. You can't do another version of the same character. It has to be your favorite version of that character. Those are the rules. We both got top 10s. We're just going to go back and forth. And there's probably going to be some discussion. And we're probably going to have to explain ourselves on something.
Yeah.
But we're going to go back and forth. Who's going first? Are you going first or am I going first with 10?
Slap, punch, kick.
Looks like Dorian's going first. What's your 10 pick, Dorian?
My number 10.
What's your number 10?
My number 10 is, honestly, the original Jazz.
G1 Jazz?
G1 Jazz.
G1 Jazz, you can't beat him.
He was just a mood, man.
G1 Jazz is a fucking vibe.
And that charisma has not been recreated except for animated, but it felt like it was
And
something
animated felt like they got as close as you could.
Without just, straight up just copying the script.
The live-action movies was just Jazz is Black.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
He
was still the coolest character in that movie.
I don't know, Barricade was pretty fun.
Barricade was pretty cool.
Barricade was pretty fun.
Before he came back. Original Barricade. The Knuckle Dusters were.
Oh no, he was in Transformers 3 before, but he's just
Barricade.
Yeah, he was in
Oh,
Transformers.
he probably showed up in the background. Though.
Yeah, it was that scene where they're about to execute Bumblebee. He was just in the background.
Lame. My 10 on my 10 is Prime RC. I think Prime RC is my favorite version of RC in general not because of what you're staring at me for.
Oh no, trust me, when Black Arachnic comes up and there's no way she's not here, that's when I'll look at you funny.
RC and Prime is how you do a female character that's strong correctly. I'm not going to get into this entire thing.
No, Dorian with the essay over here.
Yeah, Dorian over here with his entire book of reasons. But her character is how you do it right and how you don't go, she's a female, do you know she's a female? Look, she's a female. You don't have to focus on that aspect of her character for her to be a good character. She has connections with all the other characters that make sense and are nice. It's like a familial bond. Everyone in the Autobot group in Prime feels like that.
She's not outwardly a dick and somehow just never gets punished for doing anything
She doesn't
wrong.
have quadruple D titties for no reason.
Dude, that'd be hilarious. If I saw it, like, no, that's just, I want to know where those parts go.
Well, RC is my Prime RC is my 10. What's your 9?
So you're gonna laugh at me. So Arachnid Prime's number 9.
I was about to say you mentioned Arachnid, so she's got to be somewhere on your list.
Alright, let me explain myself. So, I have a love for bounty hunter characters, and trust me, you'll notice that a little later down the line. But Arachnid being an endangered species hunter that makes the species exist, makes the species endangered in the first place, is a cool concept. Her connection with RC is why I debated on which one of them I wanted to put on the list. I wanted to put them both, but I couldn't. Because, trust me, I'm a little bit too heavy on one side of this series. But it's just the fact that her very vulture-like nature, despite the fact she's a spider, is very much on play most of the time. Always trying to steal glory, or at least trying to overthrow Megatron in a way that can work. Cough, cough, Starscream.
She's very scary.
Yeah, no, trust me, she murdered Breakdown.
She fucked him up.
like literally, Silas's crew needed multiple trucks.
Yeah, no, Arachnid, she's definitely one of the better characters in Prime.
Yeah.
Not that any character in Prime, I feel, is particularly bad.
I can think of one.
You can?
Yeah. They fixed her later on, but she was pretty bad from the jump.
Are you talking about Miko?
Yeah, sorry. There's only so much the adrenaline-seeking girl can go before it's a little too far. So yeah, and also, another reason, example of a female character whose emphasis is not on the fact that she's a female, just the fact that she's a very well-written character in the environment she's put in.
Does got a big spider booty though. That's pretty neat.
Look, every Spider Woman in every bit of context looks more fertile than anything I've ever seen in my life. All right, let's not do this. Let's move on before this gets weird. Weird.
Okay, my number 9. That's for the real ones out there. My number 9 is from Transformers Cybertron, which is not a good show. But my number 9 is Scattershot from Transformers Cybertron for a couple reasons. One, he has a really cool design. 2, I had his toy as a kid, and it was my favorite toy from that entire toy line, which I had many characters from that toy line. 3, he's got a cowboy accent and guns.
Good old right Wild West vibes.
4, I feel like his alt mode is supposed to be a reference to Roller, because it has like multiple wheels and it has treads and it's a small blue vehicle, so it's kind of shaped the same way too. So I feel like they took Roller and gave it Scattershot's name. But other than that, he's just a really cool character and he's got fuck off guns, so he's awesome. And that's my number 9. What's your number 8?
My number 8.
Number 8.
Grimlock, G1.
G1 Grimlock.
Oh, I wanted to put the entirety of the Dinobots here, but again, we can only pick one, so might as well pick the right rep. Why? Because apparently Grimlock is similar to Jazz in the aspect of you can't make it again, apparently. The only other game I've seen Grimlock put in maybe an environment better than G1 was probably the War of Cybertron, the game.
For some reason, everyone tries to make Grimlock overly stupid.
Oh, it's overly stupid, and honestly, on the warrior side, still kind of dumb, but just brute strength is all there's there. And that bothers me for a couple of reasons. First off, Grimlock in aspects of a warrior has equaled Optimus Prime on multiple occasions. Which, trust me, Wheeljack built that in a lab with a box of scraps.
They also, I feel, kind of tend to forget the fact that he is a born leader and is a battle strategist.
And while, yes, he doesn't like relying on strategy, if he genuinely thinks it's required, he leans on it.
So, like, he has plenty of shit he can do, but everyone tries to make him stupid.
Way too dumb. So which is why G1 is very much the Grimlock rep here that I want to see more of, but I know I won't see for probably a decent chunk of time.
I'm not saying G1 Grimlock isn't a little dumb.
Oh no, trust me. No, we're not going to get into this. Also, he has ADHD out of his ass, or mood issues. He was going to let the entirety of the Autobots die one time. He was just going to let them die.
There was that one time where shit was blowing up and he was like, nah, I'd rather not get on the spaceship that can get us out of here. I'm just gonna create a problem. My number 8. It's different than anything else on the list because this is the only thing on the list that is not from a show. My number 8 is G1 Shockwave from the comics. Shockwave in the comics in G1 is the scariest motherfucker.
Shake my hand, brother! Sorry. Like, no, you don't understand. So, a lot of people get the aspect of what Shockwave is kind of wrong. Kind of wrong and kind of right in the same aspects. Because an emotionless machine is what he's supposed to be. Purely driven by logic and logic only. Keep in mind, Shockwave's entire purpose is to protect Cybertron. If it means siding with the Decepticons to meet that end, that's what happens, so that's what happened in the comics. However, Megatron on multiple occasions have put, Cybertron a bit more danger than it requires. And what does Shockwave decide to do when it goes too far?
Scrap.
Scrap. And one of the worst part, he won.
He won.
Every time.
I feel like the main reason everyone goes more the scientist route, like heavily, is because the G1 cartoon.
Which is
the
not...
G1 cartoon changed Shockwave's character to be a loyal protector of Cybertron that still does what Megatron says.
Which is a fine idea. Trust me, we'll get into that later down the list. I guarantee it. At least
also
for me.
got a funny wheezy voice.
Decepticons!
We're under attack! Scramble! Scramble City? But yeah, no. G1 Marvel Comics Shockwave, he's a scary fucker. And that's why he's my number 8. What's your number 7?
So bounty hunters are fun characters, but I can't put them too high up here. So let's talk about Animated Lockdown.
Yeah! Animated Lockdown. He's a different breed.
He is just a different breed.
I was not thrilled with how
his arc
they handled his character in the movie.
For me, in the Transformers movie, we're getting off topic here. I'm fine with how they handled him. It's the fact that the movie itself made no sense. Like, why would someone who's mad about Transformers and humans interact with humans to get the Transformers?
That was one of the main points me and Nick kept bringing up the entirety of the time we were watching that movie was, oh man, they don't trust any Cybertronians, so they're gonna work with a Cybertronian
to get a bomb that makes more Cybertronians.
It doesn't work. Anyway, back to Animated.
Yes. So let's break down Animated Lockdown. Essentially, during the war, he started to becoming a very well-founded bounty hunter that has interacted with Ratchet for some pretty traumatic shit that Ratchet never lives through. But it's the fact that his character was not concealed to one episode that gave what's really made us love him. Because then we got the Prowl arc of an episode.
And Prowl and Ratchet's beef, especially Ratchet's past with Lockdown, is like really interesting to watch unfold. And I just really like Lockdown in general. He was one of the only animated toys I had.
Lockdown's kind of like Cell when you think about it in terms of personality. Like, it's shit talking, but that can back it up.
Yeah, he shit talks all the time. But if you try to ask him why he shit talks, he'll bring out his fucking cork board of why he's right.
His literal trophy case. All right, what's your number 7?
Number 7. All right. I didn't think I was going to talk about this character, because I think everyone has said what they have to say about it. Bumblebee is overused, guys.
Thank you. It's not that he's overused. It feels
he is given the leadership role that his character was never made for. And he's constantly mischaracterized.
And it's not even that. It just also feels like people add him because it feels like they have to.
He's been the kid appeal character for like 15 years. We need another guy. Having said that, my number 7 is Bumblebee. Specifically, extremely specific one, because I feel like they got Bumblebee right. And that is Bumblebee while he was on Cybertron in the very beginning of Bumblebee. That opening shot where we get to see Bumblebee in his G1S glory and he's making jokes. Fucking Optimus is getting shot the hell up. He's like, where were you? And he's like, traffic. That's Bumblebee. That's Bumblebee. It's been said a lot, but they took everything that Hot Rod is and made Bumblebee Hot Rod. They gave him the leadership struggles. They gave him the he doesn't believe in himself. That's Hot Rod's character. They took it from Hot Rod and stuck it on Bumblebee, and that's what Bumblebee is now. Bumblebee's supposed to be the fun-loving sidekick who will do anything for Optimus. The do anything part is still there, but they took all Hot Rod's quirks and threw it at Bumblebee. The opening shot of Cybertron is just G1 Bumblebee. And that's what I like about it. G1 Bumblebee, he's just a cool guy. He's like that cousin that you only see like once a fucking year at family gatherings, but you're like, damn, I really wish I was that guy. He's over here talking about video games and stuff. That's what Bumblebee should be, and that's why he's number 7 on my list. What is your number 7?
So speaking of right hands, my number, I guess I would say right hand in this instance. Okay, fuck it, I don't know what joke I'm trying to make here. Let's go with shoulder. It would be right shoulder. So Soundwave is a character that is not fun, that apparently people have a hard time knowing to deal with. Because it's either you portray him as the silent one that never talks and is horrifying as all living sin, or you make him Megatron's right hand that actually doesn't stab him in the spine every 30 seconds. Which is why the Cybertron games, I prefer the approach they took with the Cybertron games, where Soundwave is still kind of like that robotic-esque thing that's similar to Soundwave, how Shockwave was portrayed at first. But at the same time, there's still emotion and very much deep-found loyalty for Megatron, to the point where after he died, he reassembled him. Seriously, no. Metroplex destroyed Megatron, and Soundwave went into hiding, found the parts, and just put him back together and filled him in of what Starscream's been up to. I will put you back together.
FNAF'd him.
Golden friend Fredbear. Psychic friend, fuck. Anyway.
Psychic friend Fredbear.
But yeah, it's just that character. And while you don't play as Soundwave for too long in those games, I don't really need to. Because not only is the character very much the combination of what I really like about the character is also just cool as fuck. Like, I'm sorry. It's just the ability to pop out mini people to do your job for you while you probably assist from the background while having a shoulder-mounted rocket launcher that you don't really need, but you have because you can, is kind of the most big dick energy you can have when you walk into a room.
His Cybertron and truck boat's pretty cool, too.
It is pretty cool.
It's got teeth on the front of it, dude. Like, there's no need for that. He just did that to be awesome.
So, yeah, that's my number. So that's my, what was it, 7? 7.
Number 6.
No, wait, it was my 7.
Was it your 7? Yeah, we're going back and forth. So now it's my number 6, and then you'll do your number 6. Okay. So how you feel about G1 Jazz? G1 Jazz.
Hold on, wait. The bit you should have did was, do you like jazz?
G1 Jazz is my number 6. I fucking love him.
He is the boy. I didn't put him higher on the list because I do think there are more. G1 did suffer from not giving development to characters, but it's a kid's show. It was the Tiny Tot show. You
and out of all that, Jazz had some of the most character in the entire fucking show.
Yep.
He was funny.
Seriously, the moment he popped out and heard Earth, he was like, "Hey, yo!"
He was like, "Oh, this shit's a bop." He's funny. He's relatable. He's got a cool mode.
He's not offensive.
He's not offensive while still being a blackish character. And he just represents adopting a culture and just rolling with it. And I fucking... That's like basically all Jazz is. It's just rolling with it. And I love it. Not to mention, he's actually pretty fucking cool. And he's good at what he does. So it's like him just being a cool dude isn't entirely all that he is either. And I feel like you said when you had your selection, nobody has really captured the same jazz since G1. And animated was the closest while still being like slightly watered down.
Keep in mind we didn't count the games in that aspect, because I do think the Cybertron games also do a pretty decent job, but you know, it's a war. There's only so much fun you can have with
that. It's literally the end of an entire planet. I don't think he's gonna be having too much fun. Anyway, that's my number 6. What's your number 6, Dorian?
So, there's no real reason I should make him number 6. I kind of wanted to put him here, slightly because it's hilarious, but singularly, Cliffjumper just keeps getting murdered before he gets a chance. Man gets murdered before he gets a chance.
Man doesn't even have a chance to give people the horns.
So, yes, Cliffjumper is my number 6.
Jesus Christ.
So, you might be wondering, for a character who can't seem to stay alive for more than 3 minutes, why is he number 6?
Specifically, which version
Prime.
of Cliffjumper? Prime Cliffjumper?
Prime Cliffjumper.
Alrighty. The Rock.
Yeah, just Dwayne the Cliffjumper
Johnson.
Anyway, the reason it's because while Cliffjumper only got a little bit of screen time during episode 1 of Prime, he did get a flashback episode with RC to where we figured out how the fuck that whole dynamic worked, and they're very much running away from cough cough the most horrifying thing on Cybertron. And trust me, we'll get to him.
The characterization of Cliffjumper in that show, especially with how little screen time he had, he was surprisingly, like,
Lush.
right off the bat, you felt like you knew their
that
relationship
guy.
from the little bit that you got.
And not only that, when Cliffjumper's just first on screen, you know that guy. You just feel like you know that guy.
If I'm not mistaken, he's the first Transformer we see in that entire show as he's driving down that road.
Yeah, he's talking to RC, and then he gets jumped.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, he was winning!
He was winning for a little bit, and then they were like,
hey look, explosives.
Blow him up. That's a good pick. Cliffjumper's a lot like Bumblebee, especially in G1. But Cliffjumper was more of an asshole. But I do really like Prime's Cliffjumper.
Again, for what little we got, it's somehow somehow when you knew his time was coming, it still felt fucking horrible.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're moving on to number 5.
We're on to the top 5.
We're on the big 5, the top 5 here. My number 5. I might get flack on this one because a lot of people have their specific version of this character that they prefer. But I feel like even if it's not your favorite version, you'll understand. And that's why number 5 is animated Megatron. He's a fucking menace. He is a goddamn genius.
Okay, is he a genius or Sumdac an idiot?
Apparently, it turns out Sumdac knew the whole time. And, like, post material from the creators, they were like, Sumdac is just a really smart guy and knew that Megatron wasn't to be trusted. But for some reason, it just still went that way. But Megatron in animated is a lot like Beast Wars Megatron, where he always has a scheme. Like, it's not like G1 Megatron, where he's like, rush in and kill them half the time. Rush in and steal something. This Megatron literally says multiple times that he needs to sit and think to plan out just the precise, perfect way to fuck everybody over.
The worst part is, like, his intro is just as fucking menacing. Because, dear God, episode 1 of Animated just really lets you know if this is the problem. This is the entire problem.
Let's hope this doesn't get finished. And when it does, after waiting, what was it, an entire season before he even got his body back?
Yeah, no, it was like a whole season before this eventually, like, Yeah, it was the end of the season where everything kind of went into place finally.
And it was a cliffhanger. And
even
everyone was just like, oh, fuck!
It's okay. So with animated Megatron, fuck, that makes me want to redo my list a little bit, but no. So animated Megatron is genuinely just a fucking menace. We don't even see him fully until he raids the Autobot ship. No, not even that. Until Starscream tries to kill him by blowing him up and fails.
He's such a menacing character, and he's so good at manipulating everybody. He's also a little bit memey, unfortunately.
That's
because he's still Megatron, so he still loses. But in animated, we get to see Megatron win a couple times. And then it's like, oh shit. Especially because it's a younger Optimus who isn't
really a prime. Like, they changed
I like the meme of Megatron not even remembering Optimus's name for 90% of the show. It's so fucking funny. But Megatron himself is really intimidating.
Very much so. And the
he
fact
commands the respect of everybody, especially Lugnut. It's just like, jeez. What has this man done? What did he do on Cybertron? What
War
did
crimes!
Specific one do?
So since your number 5 is Megatron, my number 5, oddly enough, is Prime Optimus.
Prime Optimus, baby.
So I need to explain why specifically this Optimus stands above the rest, in my opinion. So in most portrayals of Optimus and Megatron's dynamic, it's usually portrayed as Optimus doesn't want to kill Megatron and won't bend on that, or he wants to kill Megatron straight from the jump and he won't, and there's bendability there, but most of the time he's just trying to go for the kill. Now, this version of Optimus is very much different from the others in the aspect of he doesn't want to kill Megatron from the start, but it escalates to a point to where he understands at this point it has to be done. There's no peace here.
He's not G1 Prime's almost delusional optimism.
No, it's
Optimist Prime, if you will.
So he understands that at some point it has to stop, and if you're not gonna let me make it stop, I have to make me let it stop. God, that didn't make any sense when I said it out loud. But it's a matter of like just the deep, and not only that, this is one of the few Optimuses that loses their cool. Like genuinely, when the hope with like the laser beak thing near the end, like disappears before his eyes. I've never seen just pure sounding rage from a Prime before. Holy shit!
Yeah. Prime Optimus. He's similar to previous Optimuses, but also very different in subtle ways. And he's a very good character. My number 4. I don't know if you watched it without me, because I know we didn't get through the entire thing. But my number 4 is Earthspark Soundwave. Earthspark Soundwave is almost everyone's favorite Soundwave now.
Really? I have not. Alright.
1, his design is really fucking cool. 2, he's G1 Soundwave with emotions. So, spoilers for Earthspark, if you haven't seen it. In Earthspark, the Cybertronian War is over, and Megatron has sided with Optimus and Ghost, which is a human organization that's trying to round up Decepticons. Soundwave in this show is less so depicted as loyal to Megatron himself than the cause of the Decepticons. To the point where, at one point, they have to fight, and Soundwave is playing Megatron's voice back at him, which is like his favorite trick from like Prime, which everyone thought was badass. Everyone thought it was equally badass here, because the line he played back earlier in the show, Megatron said that he wasn't okay with Decepticons being kept as prisoners and being locked up, because he's all about freedom. Soundwave is this exact same way. So when Megatron and Optimus are teaming up, and they eventually have to fight Soundwave, he plays that back on Megatron. And it really, you can tell it really makes Megatron think for a minute. Because he's like, we don't have to do this, Soundwave. We could work together with the humans and Optimus. He's like, we're just trying to make it so the Decepticons don't fuck shit up. Because they're still evil, despite Megatron not being the leader of the Decepticons anymore. And Soundwave just plays that clip back at him. Of, like, that slavery. Like, we were enslaved. And we don't want to be trapped by that shit. And it's such a badass moment. And that is why Earthspark Soundwave is currently my favorite Soundwave. He is angry. He is legitimately pissed off. And you can hear it in his voice. He still has the synthesizer, which they didn't fuck up this time. Because sometimes they fuck it up and it sounds weird. But he sounds like G1 Soundwave. But he's pissed off. And I love it. And that's why.
Which, honestly, I want to give an honorable sound up to Prime Soundwave. Because, again, he only spoke once and it was the scariest line in the entire show. Soundwave superior, Autobots inferior, as he essentially took a cyanide tablet.
After he bit down on that fake tooth. What is your number 4?
My number 4, oddly enough, it's Prime Megatron.
Prime Megatron.
Prime Megatron.
He's scary.
No, trust me. This is like... Okay, so my reasoning for putting Prime Megatron on here, and trust me, I had a big debate between that and Armada Megatron for a bit, is a couple things. This Megatron emotes far more than most of the other Megatrons do than throughout the Transformers mythos. He very much animates a lot more. Just due to the fact of his command for respect, his reactions towards just the dumbest things you can think of. Cough, cough, robot vampire zombies. And it's just the fact that you can tell that he not only is one who takes no nonsense, but when he finds nonsense amusing, he'll let it go on for like 3 more minutes.
Prime Megatron definitely feels the most dangerous.
He also is not. He's just not a Russian, kill him, don't care. He is also just an actual strategist of the fact that when Optimus loses his memory, he literally immediately came with the idea of yeah, you come with me. They're evil. Come on, go. This means like okay, look, I need him to hack. Look, I need him to unlock the Iacon files. After that, we're done. After that, depending on how he feels, I might just have to put the dog down. Make sure the dog's not doing anything else.
I really like the dynamic between Optimus and Megatron in that show.
Yes, because they both understand, and this was on very big play during the Unicron episodes, of just Megatron wants to rule Cybertron, and if he can get help with that, he'll take it, but he will not be a slave. Like Megatron says, I am a slave to no one.
I obey nobody! But Prime Megatron is...
It's very much... Also, I have to do this aspect. His dynamic with Starscream is probably one of the most close Starscream's ever gotten to just straight up being murdered. Like, so close to death, to the point to where Megatron was forced to, at some point, make a choice between Blitzwing and Starscream, and he chose Starscream. Why? No clue. I wouldn't have made that call, personally, but it's just the fact that he felt like Starscream is more useful than Blitzwing. Again, questions there. But it's very easily and also it kind of does away with the classic Megatron Starscream dynamic of I'm trying to put a knife in your back and you're gonna let me keep doing it. Because there is a genuine point where he's like, nah, and he's generally just ready to put him down like 3 separate times in the series.
I like how you can see how dangerous this Megatron.
He cuts off his arm to be able to use the hammer of the promise. Like, he is unhinged. Victory is the only option he sees.
He's so fucking intimidating. And he's like, if G1 Megatron was not campy, and that's another reason why I like him a lot. Because he's got like the same, I'm gonna scheme and shit, and I have my goal and everything. But he's also just like, he will fuck you up. He won't shoot and miss like G1. He'll hunt your ass down. My number 3. So, how do you feel about Pirate Hook Hands? Because my number 3 is Animated Lockdown. Animated Lockdown is my number 3. I like him that much. And it took a lot to not give away some of these picks because, you know, you said them in some of your rankings. And I'm like, I don't want to get into it fully right now, but when it's my turn. Animated Lockdown, I believe he only gets 3 episodes.
I was going to say it's like 2 or 3.
But in those 3 episodes, he cements himself as one of the creepiest, coolest, and most intimidating characters in all of animated. And a first, because Lockdown never existed before animated. Yeah. Again, like I mentioned earlier, his dynamic with Ratchet is severely interesting. Because I've always been super interested in animated Ratchet's backstory. And, you know, him with RC on Cybertron and all that stuff that happened.
Which, I want to point out, Criminal didn't get more RC in that show.
Criminal. She was a very good RC. But all of their arcs are wrapped up into Lockdown. And I love the fact that Lockdown has just pieced himself together to make himself better with parts from people
he Frankensteined himself, and it feels so wrong, but it makes sense in the creepiest way you can think.
It's one of those things where you're like, a Mad Doctor style character in Transformers, really? And then you're like, a Mad Doctor type character in Transformers, really? Like, you wouldn't think it'd work super well.
Especially in a series where there's a bunch of Mad Doctors. Like, so you got, you genuinely have fucking Wheeljack and fucking Shockwave in the corner right there.
Yeah. Especially when you realize that animated overall has a lot of lighter tones to it. And then Lockdown comes in.
Yeah,
and he just brings the whole mood down into this pit of...
Yeah, if I believe the episode we get introduced to Lockdown is the first episode we get a glimpse of what the fuck the war was like and how bad it was.
Supposedly there was more planned for Lockdown 2.
There very much. I very much am aware that the ending for animated was very much rushed, and there was a lot more they wanted to get done.
Yeah.
And it sucks because you can feel the rush near the end. And it's just, but still, it manages to be such a good show.
Yeah. But I had Lockdown's toy. It was very, very cool. He's one of the most unique characters in animated, not having to be based off any particular version of a character. A lot of characters in animated are taken from multiple different versions of that character and put into one. But Lockdown got to be his own standout person because he didn't exist. And he's just a really good character.
Yeah.
So that was my number 3. What is your number 3?
My number 3 is Prime Sentinel.
Prime Sentinel.
So, the reason Prime Sentinel is very much up on the list here is specifically due to the fact that a lot of the times during some Transformers shows, you kind of forget about the war. Prime is one of those shows that never lets you forget. And it doesn't throw it at your face every episode either. It's just, you always feel the underlying tone of there's more to come after this. And since the episode of where everything goes to hell, and all the Autobots are split up, you really get the tone of, is there hope for this? And then, Sentinel shows up in Optimus' absence. Now, Sentinel in the Gen 1 mythos is essentially kind of like Optimus' substitute in ways, in case Optimus is not available.
Oh, I think you're talking about Ultra Magnus.
Oh!
I was trying to figure out...
I fucked up. I meant Ultra Magnus.
I was like, is there an episode of Beast Hunters that I didn't see or something where Sentinel shows up?
Okay, so let me rephrase. Please replace the name Sentinel with Ultra Magnus throughout that entire rant until we head forward. I don't know why I thought Sentinel.
Just record yourself. Ultra Magnus, and just replace it over.
If you're willing to do it, I'll do it. Anyway, Ultra Magnus, in that aspect, is very much, because when he first touches down, you first get to notice his personality. He's very much by the books military respect militia, which is not how Optimus ran the ship, but Sentinel is very much, again, by the books. Ultra Magnus! Oh my god, please don't let this be the bit.
Man's got Sentinel on the mind.
Ultra Magnus does not flow the ship in such a way like that, and he prefers it very much more by the books. And as it goes on, he clashes with Wheeljack very hard, to the point to where they need a whole episode to be buddies, and then jump a dragon in the most disrespectful way possible. Like, holy shit. And not only that, we get to see what Transformers with no hands look like. Just, like, no, this is the one Transformer next to Bulkhead. No, he actually sustains the worst injury in the series that isn't self-inflicted, Megatron. Because he loses his hand. Ultra Magnus loses his hand and has to get it replaced with, like, a claw. Which really just sets the tone of, again, we really are we're in the end games now. Nothing's off the table here. It just really sets the tone for the rest of the series that, for me, I never forgot. And if you've never seen Prime, what the fuck are you doing? And I haven't gotten to the best character from that show to me in that yet.
Magnus rolling up with that goddamn Magnus hammer.
Yeah, no, like, Optimus, like, hey, he was just like, hey, Optimus, since that hammer isn't really useful, Chuck, mine.
That hammer is like its own Forge of Solus Prime. It's just that cool. He's got a big old mallet. I don't know where that originates from. The first time I remember ever seeing Magnus with a hammer was animated. I don't know if it came from animated or if maybe he had a hammer in the comics.
It's possible. And
But
also the
G1 Magnus never had a hammer.
And also, the hammer is the Forge of Solus Prime in Prime. Like, remember, it runs out of juice eventually because there's only so much you can make with it without refilling it. And it's like, give it to Sentinel, fuck it.
It's gonna soulless my Prime.
God damn it.
I kind of forgot Magnus was in that show. and then you bringing up, I was like, Magnus was in that show, and he was like really fucking cool.
Again, him and Wheeljack jumped a dragon.
Yeah. We're down to the last two. Number 2 for me, it's not gonna be a surprise. The top 2 on my list are, I feel like, the safest of everything on my list. Not that my list has been too shocking for the most part. My number 2 is Armada Starscream.
I was wondering when they were going to get to this. It's like, I knew there was no way he's not here.
Armada Starscream is my favorite Starscream of all time. He has a cool design, and he has a fantastic character arc. He is so far removed from what a Starscream typically is, while still being Starscream, that it's like watching his character develop throughout the show. You're really like intrigued and you're in it the entire time. And by the end, you really do just feel like a piece of you is missing when he finally sacrifices himself. Because you're like, holy shit, man. It was so impactful that Megatron, who is mostly bullheaded in almost every show, because it's Megatron. But even Megatron was like, oh fuck. Maybe he's right? Man just fucking evaporated over there. Because me and Prime were fighting, and he like, I'm pretty sure he literally like, were like, you guys are acting like fucking children. And it was like, Armada Starscream is such a good fucking character. And I love him. And I'm glad that a lot of people are finally recognizing Armada for what it is, which is a pretty fucking good show.
Damn, that got deep.
Huh?
Man, that got deep.
I just love him. He's really good. What is your number 2?
My number 2, dear sir. And again, I'm gonna say this now. These last two are just prime. These last, for me, number 2 is a Bulkhead from Prime.
Fun-loving big boy.
Fun-loving big boy gets the life kicked out of him. So, Bulkhead is a very interesting character in the aspect of he's got a lot of flaws with his character, so the show had a lot to work with, and they think worked it the best they could, and most any writer could. Because first off, he's very much under the consideration that all he can do is break stuff, and while that is very much untrue, he very, very much is able to not only break stuff well, but also oddly think of weird solutions out of problems when he's forced out of his hand. And not only that, it's a matter of just how much the character goes throughout the show. From literally almost being crushed to death by rocks, to literally almost losing his life trying to destroy, essentially, Decepticon cancer. Cybertronian super cancer.
Bulkhead is definitely one of the more characterized people in that show. He doesn't feel like an alien robot.
He feels like
just that cool uncle, almost.
Yeah, and it's not only that, it's just, after the Insecticon incident, he genuinely gets, like, a limp that never goes away. Like, it's a small detail, but for the rest of the series, it's right there. And when he thinks he's being replaced by Smokescreen, he really just really rips into him. Really warns Smokescreen about the fact that this is not a joke anymore. Like, this is not a joke, it's never been one. Stop treating it like it is.
Yeah, and his relationship with Wheeljack is also really
does
fun
bring.
to watch.
I feel like that brings the best out of the character. Miko and Wheeljack bring the best out of him.
Just watching them smile as they fucking tear ass.
Tear ass.
It's just like it puts a smile on your face, puts some happy in your soul.
And Wheeljack and Miko's revenge mission. Really let you know how good of a dude he was.
Not to mention, Bulkhead has always been the like, oh shit, something needs to be done. Sure, I'll go to the fucking literal Decepticon base and walk around. He never cared about getting caught for the most part. He was always like, yeah, something needs to be done.
He knew stealth was more RC's bit, so he didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, Bulkhead's a great character. Very, very different than animated's Bulkhead, and I feel like Prime Bulkhead is definitely the best version of that character. Because G1 Bulkhead exists, but he's really not a character at all.
Yeah.
He's a name.
We need to sell toys. Throw this in here.
This is it. This is the final selection. This is number 1.
Wait, who was your number 2?
What?
Who's your number 2?
My number 2 was Armada Starscream.
Oh yeah, right. Fuck. Okay, I'm an idiot.
I want to give some honorable mentions here.
Oh, so this is where we're doing it. I didn't know.
Yes, I always do honorable mentions before number 1. Ratchet from Prime. The Hoo-Ah episode, best episode.
Hoo-ah.
Best favorite episode of Prime. Hoo-Ah. Him being hopped up on that Energon was the funniest shit I've ever seen in Transformers.
I also want to give a shout out to Swindle from Animated.
Swindle from Animated is a treasure.
Yeah. Not only that, but also Knockout. I meant Knockout.
Swindle also appears in Earthspark, and he's basically just his animated form, so you'd probably like it a lot. Another one. What was another one I was going to say? G1 Ironhide. G1 Ironhide doesn't give a fuck. He's got many cool tools. He's got a fucking liquid nitrogen gun that comes out of his hand.
I feel like OGRC doesn't get enough love.
Our OG RC is very cool, but she had like no screen time,
Yeah.
which is really sad. She didn't really get to do anything outside of the movie. But for that short time she did get, she was pretty cool.
Do you want to talk about Hot Rod?
Animated Hot Rod is cool. Animated Hot Rod did nothing wrong, and Animated Hot Rod is really cool.
Died on screen after a minute, though.
Yeah. I don't like complainy Hot Rod from G1.
Fair.
I understand what they were going for, but I feel like they did it way too much. And that's how a lot of other people feel.
I also want to give a honorable mention to the Constructicons, because apparently it's hard to do that.
From G1.
Yeah. Also, I want to give an honorable mention to the design of Megatron from Transformers 2. That's it.
Oh, Movieverse.
Yeah, Movieverse. Just his design.
Since you mentioned Movieverse, here goes my Movieverse list. Bone Crusher was fucking awesome.
You describe him as like he's like cute in the ugly way, like a pug.
He's he's got a weird squished pug face, and he literally was rollerblading down the goddamn freeway. Just, it was really cool.
It's like Shadow the Hedgehogging down the freeway.
Bone Crusher was cool. Blackout is cool. I forgot what his other name was.
Blackout's in 1, Grinder's in 2.
Grinder, yeah. He was pretty cool. I've always liked Long Haul. Even though he had no character in the movie, I just liked his design. He was really cool looking. Who else? Armada Megatron. Beast Wars Megatron. Fantastic characters. Dinobot. I struggled to not put Dinobot on the fucking list.
Just all of them.
just fucking Beast Wars Dinobot. He's just the best. Yeah, I think that's about all for honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your number one first or me?
I'll do it. Prime Shockwave.
Prime Shockwave.
Prime Shockwave.
He's really ripped.
Really jacked. He's
the swollest Shockwave.
Literally, when he was stuck on Cybertron, he met them gains.
He fucking hit the gym every day.
So in Prime, Shockwave is very much a character they did not skip on, and I think they characterized pretty well. They kept the very logical scientist aspect of him while making him loyal to the Decepticon cause, without particularly making it too overbearing or annoying like some other shows tend to do. And not only that, when he's introduced to the show with an idea that can very much work, he feels like a different presence when he's on the battlefield. Like, when you get that flashback with Cliffjumper and RC, and he's just straight up trying to take him out through the fucking space bridge, you get the idea that there's a chance they don't walk out of here.
About to end their legacy.
Not only that, his design and vehicle form are very great. Just the railgun tank.
I never really thought Shockwave would work well as a tank, and then they did that version.
Yeah, he has a hand cannon. There's no way you can fuck that up.
Because normally it's like, he's a gun, or he's a spaceship. You have to be a tank like Megatron this time.
And not only that, it's just the aspects of his character they do well. He works very well with Starscream. Oddly enough, the most like over dramatic character in the series works well with the character who shows no emotion at all.
Oh God! I didn't think there's another honorable mention I didn't mention. Knockout from Prime.
I just say Knockout.
Well, I didn't say that. But Knockout from Prime is fucking hilarious.
he was underappreciated in his time.
Yes, he was. And I'm glad everyone likes him so much. Knockout was awesome. But yeah, Shockwave from Prime is definitely a different presence than
he's
any
a
other
different
Shockwave.
breed. He was assembled different.
Prime Shockwave feels like comic Shockwave. pulled off the page and less insane. And I really like it. For my number one, it's Prime Optimus.
I was wondering. It's like, I'm on the Megatron. I'm out of Starscream. Was it number one?
Prime Optimus. I feel like Prime Optimus is the best Optimus we've ever had.
Thank you.
It is everything that Optimus is and should ever be in the best balance that it's ever been.
Oh.
It is not fuck everything, kill everybody, Michael Bay Optimus. And it is not everyone gets infinite chances Optimus. It's fun-loving, big poppy Optimus.
Datamus Prime.
Datamus Prime. He really feels like he has a familial bond with all of his Autobots and even the humans. He definitely feels a lot closer than just a random robot from space. He is not afraid to battle when it is needed to be done. He will try to avoid it as much as possible, which is one of the things I like about Optimus. But I also like you said, that he's not afraid to take it into his hands when he has to.
Like the episode with Wheeljack, where he's like, "Oh please, people like Optimus always leave when the shit gets tough," and he's right there. He's right there going after It's not Blitzwing. Dreadwing. But he's going after Dreadwing to go defuse the fucking bomb, and it's like, it's gonna blow. Prime, you want to go? It's like, nope. If it blows, if it blows, we all blow. Fuck him.
Nah, I'm going out.
Nah, fuck it. My team's gonna be fine.
Him and Ratchet fighting that army of zombies. That's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah,
because you just get to see two dudes fucking up zombies, having a good time in a Transformer show. And it's just really cool. I really like the jokes that Optimus has in that series. Just like,
you want to hear something funny?
You want to see something funny?
No.
Like I really like Optimus and Prime.
Not only that, the moment where Optimus spoilers for Prime, the moment where he almost
spoilers for Prime after we've talked about Prime have to be
when Optimus is about to can it, you feel like the series is like, it feels like such a heart-wrenching moment of him about to join the Allspark, and it's like, nah, not my time.
Not this Prime. He's not dying.
Nah, not yet. It comes back with a fucking jet pack. It's like,
yeah,
Megatron! Look who's decided death was for pussies!
When Optimus comes back in his swole
Beast Hunter's
form, that was a whole moment where I was like,
they can't see your face.
Whoa!
They can't see your face, dude. I want to take a picture of that, send it to you, put it on the fucking screen.
It was just my jaw dropping to the floor. I was just like, holy shit. That whole, like, final bit in the Unicron trilogy was also, not trilogy, that's the other thing. The Unicron arc in Prime.
Dude,
where Prime and Bumblebee have to fuck up Megatron.
Not only that, the bit of just the Unicron arc of just like Optimus and Megatron of like that fucking, you know, the scene of just them fighting fucking antibodies again.
Megatron's like, all right, go ahead, lock me up or whatever, and he's like, no.
Yeah, just the scene in the cave, like, all right, Prime, we've done this enough.
They both have fucking swords and they're fighting and it's cool.
There's also the scene in the cave where it's just like, all right, Optimus, we get it. You beat me. You're gonna let me go. I'm gonna go home. Why's your gun out? Oh.
Hey, yo, he serious though? Hey, yo, why he looking at me like that? But yeah, that, I feel like we've definitely, Jesus, this is an hour-long video.
It has its right to be.
I feel like we explained
quite enough.
Quite
and the fact that my list is so biased and unfair. If there are two series you should watch, animated and Prime, they really bring Transformers out to its peak.
People aren't lying when they say Prime is
the best Transformers show.
It is.
It essentially, like, all the other Transformers It's set a... Okay, G1, like, sets a standard. This is Gordon Ramsay's, like, give me that shit.
This is, if you have never seen anything Transformers up until this point, one, I don't know why you're watching this video. But
second, I don't think you should start with Prime, because then everything's just kind of a downgrade.
I feel like it's a safe bet to say that Prime is a good soft reboot for Transformers in general. Even though it's technically part of the aligned continuity, which doesn't make any sense at all. It is definitely the best of those shows, and I feel like it's definitely worth a watch if you haven't already. It's full of fun moments that'll make you laugh. It's full of dark moments
that'll make you cry.
Really scary, and it's full of sad moments where you contemplate life.
Though there is the bit with the Insecticons that I won't let go. I won't let go of it. I'm sorry. Why? Like, I know conservation of ninjutsu, but come on, that bad?
There are moments where you'll finish an episode and just kind of be like, this is a show about 3D animated robots. Jesus.
Seriously, the only flaw I have with the show, this is a personal gripe, not even a flaw with the show, this is the fact the Insecticons got done dirty. They didn't even get independent designs or anything. They're just...
Insecticons were just a force.
Yeah, and it just made me sad.
But yeah, that's it. What are your favorite shows? Comment.
Actually, I might have another honorable mention.
One last honorable mention?
Technically 3. The Insecticons from the Transformers Cybertron games. They are just a treat. Soundwave tamed an army of... Shockwave tamed an army of fucking bugs in a day.
He was like, check out my ant collection. Yeah. Hope you liked the video. If you watch the entire video, you're a trooper.
Fucking, I fucked up Sentinel and Ultra Magnus so fucking bad. Oh my god.
But yeah. Thanks for watching. It was a fun video to do. I've been wanting to do this for a while. But yeah.
Hope to see you next time.
Bye!
Just put the Transformers sound there.
See ya, chumps.